Thank you for joining us here on Mortal to Mortal. Today I have with me the esteemed, phenomenal Ash Blodgett. Thank you
Hi,
for
thank
joining
you.
me today. Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for
Awesome, man.
having me.
Woo. Um, so for those that might not know who you are, the few, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a independent YouTube filmmaker, comedian, personality, I guess, all of the above. And I co-founded and run a channel called LaughStashTV. And on there, we do all sorts of stuff like video game parodies. We have a cooking show. We've done Comic Con interviews. We've done Gosh, oh yeah, there's the Let's Drink, which is our drinking show, which
Mm.
has a lot of fans. That's a popular one. And then we also do a podcast. So we do a podcast called
Ah.
Let's Rewatch,
Mhm.
where we rewatch movies we loved in our youth and see if they
Ah.
still hold up to modern day expectation. So
Nice.
yeah, it's fun.
That sounds really fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, Now, recently, you hit over 10,000, 11,000, I think, subscribers on
Yeah.
Lastash's YouTube page, right?
hmm
That's
Yeah, and it's pretty exciting because that means we now get to go and use the YouTube space
oh,
in
really?
LA. Yeah, so we just went there, um, I think last week to check it
Really?
out, and so
Huh,
that's pretty exciting because we'll be able to start to do bigger production stuff.
that is
So
amazing. Oh.
yeah,
And congratulations too. That's got
thank
to feel like
you.
a big, yeah. That
Yeah,
is a
it
big
feels like an
milestone.
achievement unlocked.
Yes. Awesome. What inspired you to start creating all of this content in the first place?
Well, I've always been making funny videos since I was in high school. I made
Hmm.
several, and I went to a high school that allowed us to take college level classes. So I took
Oh.
college level video production classes
Ah, nice.
pretty early on. Yeah, and so I've been doing film stuff forever. I went to film school, got out of film school, and got like a desk job being a video editor
Oh.
and worked in a cubicle. And one day I was kind of like, this isn't really what I wanted.
Neat.
I want to be out there directing and doing more creative work. I was editing screen capture. And
Ah,
so I quit my job and decided to be a YouTuber, which was
nice.
pretty scary.
I bet. I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. But through that, uh, Laugh Stash has really evolved. We right out the gate, we tried to do really high production, big budget stuff.
Okay.
And which, like, one of our earlier pieces is our Breaking Bad music video parody.
Oh yeah. Which is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is really fun, but it like just killed us because it
I bet.
was so much work, and we realized we
Mhm.
had to, kind of dial it back.
Mhm.
And so I started producing easier to shoot shows like
Mhm.
Hunger Games, which is our cooking show.
Mm.
And it's just me and my friend Lolita making fun stuff in our kitchen. Or
Neat.
Let's Drink, which is my friend Brett and I, where we review really weird drinks. But basically, yeah, in order to hang out with my friends, I
Nice.
created I created content. Because
Awesome.
anyone who knows me knows that I'm a workaholic, and if you want to hang out
Ah.
with me, we have to be doing something creative for my channel.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
sorry. So that's what started the channel. I mean, I've always known that I wanted to be a storyteller to
Mhm.
some degree. So uh, filmmaking became this perfect thing that it um, allowed me to do writing and arts and
Right.
storytelling and all these
Nice.
cool like graphics and everything, yeah, wrapped up together, as I'm sure you understand.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of combine all these passions and skills into
Mm,
one final product. So
neat.
and I also found I turned to YouTube because I bet you didn't guess the first question would be a novel, but
That's great.
I I turned to YouTube because after going through film school,
Mhm.
I took my short film Hold Up through the festival circuit,
Okay.
and I got into a few festivals and it did all right, but I was finding that I was paying like, I paid like I think $2,500 to go to a festival in New York,
Ah, okay.
and 10 people saw my film.
Oh,
As opposed
yeah.
to I upload a video to YouTube and
Right.
7 million people see my video,
Mm-hmm.
so
Right.
it's definitely, I found that YouTube works best for me because
Mhm.
I don't have to, I just don't find, I think the festival circuit works if you want to be a feature film
Ah.
director, but I
Mhm.
don't think it necessarily works for everyone and the
Right.
weird content that I like to
Right.
produce.
Yeah. You want that broad audience so you can capture all
Yeah.
the people that appreciate it. Neat.
So,
Well, much to the delight of everyone, I'm glad you chose to upload to YouTube.
yeah, me too.
Now you mentioned a few of your shows there. Could you tell us a
Hmm.
little more about the lineup, about the shows, and
Sure.
neat.
Yeah, we have so like I said, there's Hunger Games, not
Mhm.
Hunger Games. It's a play on words.
A
Um
lawyer bursts in your
hung
door. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Copyright. Yeah.
Lawyered. um Hunger Dames, which is a cooking show with my friend Lolita,
Mm.
who she's really the cook. I'm just the dumb guy that's next to her, like, how does this work?
Neat.
Um,
What's that you
yeah.
say? Yeah.
That one's fun. We haven't done many of those recently because she moved out of state for like a whole year.
Oh, okay. That'll do it.
Lolita.
Yeah.
But she's back, so we'll probably do more of
Ah,
those.
neat.
Let's Drink is the drinking show where
Mm.
I subject Brett and poor guests to a number of just gruesome, horrible
I've
drinks.
seen
I kind
several
of
of
go
those.
out of my way, yeah, to find the weirdest stuff, like beer
That's
milk.
great.
They won't let me
Uh-huh.
live that one down. But we do fun stuff like we did an Archer themed episode where we did drinks that Archer comes up with
Ah.
in the show. So they're
Mhm.
like, not drinks you'd find anywhere else. They're like fake, never been made drinks that a human probably shouldn't consume.
Right?
Um, and what else did we do? We did Harry Potter. We
Oh.
did Game of Thrones, which was fun because we did
Ah.
a drink with dry ice, so it was
Oh,
all
really?
bubbly
Oh,
and fun, and
nice.
yeah, that was fun. Oh, and there was a drink on fire in that one too, but
Ooh.
it kind of started melting the glass, so
Oh no.
yeah, it was like not necessarily melting, but it was getting
Hmm.
too hot to like drink from, so
Gotcha.
we blew the fire out for the drinking part of it.
Awesome.
But yeah, we do fun stuff like that.
Mm.
We did a Harry Potter one,
Mm.
and we have a video game and Star Wars one coming out soon too.
Oh, look
So
forward
those
to
will be
that,
fun.
people. Yeah, nice.
What else we have? Oh, our big sort of like pillar content
Mhm.
is our video game parodies. So we have the
Ah.
Plants vs Zombie parody, which
Mhm.
is the
Great.
one that has taken off, uh, and it's just ridiculous. It's at like 7 million views or something. I
Nice.
stopped checking because it's just insane.
Done. Yeah, yeah. Right. That's
It
awesome.
gets like 20 or like I think it gets like 200,000 views a day or something. I don't know.
Wow.
It's just insane. Or maybe it's
Awesome.
20. Either way, it's a lot. It's to the point where like my friend Daleks who
Mm.
plays the zombie, I'm just
Oh,
like I just turn to him and I go, "Do you know 7 million people have seen your face? Like that's so weird."
right. Uh,
And we're so surprised cuz he never gets recognized anywhere.
oh,
But I guess
really?
it's all the green face makeup.
That's true. Yeah, that'll
you
that'll
know?
yeah.
Yeah,
Just have him. You should just walk around with green face
with
paint, and
that.
then yeah.
And then we just released our Fallout parody, which we're
Oh, which
really
is
excited
great.
about. Oh,
Yes,
thank
very
you.
funny. I love it. Yeah.
Oh, good. We spent like a whole year working on that one, so it's
Oh,
like
okay.
it feels good to hear people think it's funny because
Yeah.
you watch it like when I'm editing these,
Mm.
I see them like a million times, and by the time I'm done with it, I'm like, is this even fucking funny?
Right.
Like I
You
don't
just
even
yeah. You
know.
this little the timing right. Is it this right? Is it that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like, and we have this problem of like we basically when we come up with our video game parody stuff, it's because we'll be sitting there playing. My boyfriend and I will be sitting there playing the video games, and like one of us will say like, "Isn't this a funny thing in the game? Like, isn't it ridiculous that in Fallout you shoot somebody and they explode? Because that
Yeah.
makes absolutely no sense whatsoever." And so that's where like the ideas start, but it's such a
Nice.
like niche idea. You have to have like
Yeah.
played the video game to understand that
Hmm.
when we show it to like friends and family, they're like, I
What?
don't get it. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I have to explain to you the game. See, there's
Right.
this mechanic, and so it's just like I very rarely come face to face with people who actually like understand the
Ah,
joke. So it's
gotcha.
so great to hear that you
Yeah.
think it's funny.
Oh, it was
Uh,
hilarious. I loved it.
well, thank you. Because I'm just surrounded by people that are like, I've never played Fallout. And I'm
Ah.
like, oh.
Yeah.
Even the actors, when we did
Hmm.
it, they're both friends of mine, but they were like, I haven't actually played the game. So I'm like having to explain to them,
Right.
like what is going on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
so niche, but
neat.
and we also have
Hmm.
a Watch Dogs video game parody as
Okay.
well, which is not as well viewed. Again, it's like such a nit. Like you have to have known that
Mm,
in the game Watch Dogs, you could play these mini games, and one of
right.
them is Spider Tank.
That's right.
And if
Yeah.
you've yeah, and so if you've played it, it's funny. If you haven't played it, you're just like, what is this
Yeah.
jackassery that's happening? Oh, man.
Nice.
I go through a mixture of like what I do is cool and also horrendously embarrassed when I show
Yeah.
someone who just doesn't get it.
Mhm.
I I was working on this reality TV show. I was like the main editor on the show for a
Oh.
while, and I showed it to the director producer of both of them of the show,
Mhm.
and the Plants vs Zombie one, and it's just like silence when the
Oh
video's
no.
done. And I was like, well, I
Uh,
guess you weren't the right people to show it to. And the director's like, well, it was shot really well. And I was like, well,
nice.
thanks. I guess I'll
That's
take
too
the
funny.
compliment.
Right?
It's
uh,
better than
neat.
nothing.
Yeah. Um, what would you say are some of your favorite parts of the production process for the
I,
shorts and such? Well, for everything,
yeah,
I guess.
I love being on set. That's like my absolute favorite thing. I love
Right.
directing on set because, I mean, really just being on set in any form. Of course, I prefer directing.
Nice.
But
Fixes director's cap.
yeah, right. Let me get my director's chair. Um, but I love being on set because I usually, all the people that I get to work on my shoots are my friends. And
Nice.
so doing a shoot for me is just fun. Like
Mm,
that's the most important thing. I
mhm.
mean, for me is that everyone is having fun. And
Yeah.
so it's always a fun time, and it just feels like I'm hanging out with my friends, making this like cool thing,
Right?
and I get to do like ridiculous shit, like cover my friend Marissa in blood, or like cover my friend Alex in green makeup, like
Nice.
just silly, silly stuff that we wouldn't normally do. And I'm
Mm,
so thankful that all of them constantly volunteer to help me out for free.
nice. Good. Yeah.
And so it's just like a fun time. I think usually when I work with people, they're like super stoked when I ask them to come work for me again because they just know that we're just gonna have fun, and then
Awesome.
afterwards we're all gonna go drink some beer.
Beautiful. They're sold. I think that comes
Yeah.
across too, like watching your videos and
Mm.
stuff. You can tell everyone's, having a good time and glad to be there. Um,
Yeah,
mm.
yeah. I always like to make like they didn't get a lot of views, so I kind of stopped doing them, but I always like to make gag reels too because it's
Oh,
just
okay.
sometimes it's so fun, just seeing us having fun on set.
Yes.
But yeah.
I always look for those whenever is there a gag reel or behind the scenes? Yeah.
Yeah, I usually actually I don't know that anybody knows that they're there,
Hmm.
but on
Oh.
pretty much all of the Let's Drinks and some of the Hunger Games at the end there's a gag reel after the
Oh.
bumper.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think anyone stays to see, but they're there. So if
Nice.
you're a fan and you're watching this and you haven't seen them, go back and watch at
Watch
the
them.
very end. I've been putting
Awesome.
them there for you this whole time. Easter egg.
Yeah. Nice. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Uh, has your work with LaughStash ever allowed you to meet anyone that you sort of geeked out over?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, um, I've met Felicia Day, who I really, yeah, I really
Yeah,
respect
super
her.
awesome.
She's very inspiring.
Mm,
And I've also met Will Wheaton, who's just a super fun guy. He's super
nice.
cool. And then for yeah, we actually, because they asked us, Geek and Sandry asked us to be on their tabletop day stream one
Oh,
year,
okay.
and then we were also on another charity fundraising
Oh,
stream
okay.
that they were doing.
Awesome.
And then we are also, you can see us in an episode of their I'm totally gonna get the name wrong because it's so long, but it's like super awesome party fun game time, or
Mm-hmm.
some sort of show like that. You can find an episode with us on there too, which is really fun.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And then I mean, I live in the Southern California area,
Mm-hmm.
so celebrity spotting is kind of the norm.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
it was also super cool to work with uh, the guys from Breaking Bad. We worked with the two
Ah,
cousins, or I think they're. I'm trying to remember. Are they cousins on the show and brothers in real life? It's one of them, or they're
okay.
brothers in real life and they're cousins on the show. I think they're cousins in real life, but
Okay.
um, these guys, we got them to be in the Breaking Bad music video,
Nice.
and they're just like, they look super intimidating, right? Like
Hmm.
they look thug life hardcore,
Yeah.
and you meet them and they're just like the sweetest,
Ah,
nicest guys ever, and they're
awesome.
just so nice. And they came out, and again, like, they did this for free for us,
Wow,
and
awesome.
yeah, and they were just in the video for free. They're only in the video for like a split second, but it was just so cool to, like, have the experience of meeting them for sure.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. And then I guess Travis McRoy has been on several of our Let's Drinks.
Oh, okay.
He's also he's a fun guy, yeah.
Hmm.
And
That's neat.
yeah. So it's cool because once you kind of start getting connected, I find the geek YouTube community is very
Hmm.
connected. So once
Neat.
you start like meeting somebody, you meet somebody else, and it just all snowballs, and
Awesome.
yeah.
That's great. Um, you had mentioned a little bit earlier your background, which I believe is a fairly extensive background in filmmaking and
Hmm.
photography too, and videography and such.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I don't say photography because it's such a different skill
gotcha.
that, yes, I can shoot photos, but
Hmm.
my friend Lolita, the co-host of Hunger Games, is
Mm.
actually a photographer,
Ah,
and she
okay.
does a lot of like, she did the photo for the thumbnail. She'll do like our thumbnail photos,
Oh,
and she'll
neat.
do like the product shots of the finished food for Hunger Games.
Ah, okay.
And like, I do not pretend to have her talent.
Neat.
Like, she is a true photographer, and vice versa. She and I talk about it a lot, where she doesn't know a lot about video,
Mhm.
and so a lot of times people think like, oh, you're a videographer, you must know how to take pictures. I'm like, well, not
Mhm.
really.
Apples and oranges. Gotcha.
You probably don't want me to take pictures at your wedding. You probably should hire a photographer, please.
Nice.
Anyway, sorry, I went on a
Mm,
long tangent.
no,
Go
no.
ahead.
Let's see. Well, I think your skits and short films and such are really just super funny. Uh, and you
Thank
touched on
you.
this. Oh yeah, no problem. It's the truth. And you touched on it a little bit earlier, but um, I wanted to ask where your ideas come from, where you get your inspiration from, even where you
Yeah.
came up with some of the concepts for the shows that you run.
Yeah, most of the time it's my boyfriend and I sitting on the couch, either watching something or playing a video game, and like I said, like an idea pops into my head, or
Mhm.
pops into his head, and or I'm just talking with friends and they have an idea, and we just run with it. And it's usually, if it's an idea, I have like this notes app on my phone where I jot down every idea. And if it's an idea
Ah.
that I can't stop thinking about and I'm like, that's really funny, and I tell it to other people and they laugh, then I'm like, okay, I know that this is good. Like
Neat.
I have one that I'm shooting in like 2 or 3 weeks,
Mm.
which I don't want to say too much because I
Oh,
don't
that's
want
fine.
anyone to steal the
Yeah.
idea because it's
Right.
really good. But it's an idea that my boyfriend came up with,
Mhm.
where he was just joking around, and then I was like, this is great. And it just kind of kept developing, and I kept
Ah.
talking to friends about it, and every time I would tell them about it, they were like, that's really funny. So,
Nice.
it just kind of inspiration kind of comes from anywhere, really.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so a lot of times our stuff is video game related when it comes to the sketches, but
Mhm.
we're going to try to start branching out to other things. Like there's another one that I've been meaning to do, but I need to get someone to run around in a sriracha suit with me. So it's like, like
Nice.
just usually it's just like that one just came from, I am obsessed with sriracha, and it's like a joke. My friends, one time one of my friend I just love all hot sauces, and one
Mhm.
time my friend Marissa, the actress in Fallout, was
Ah.
crashing at my house and went to sleep in my bed, and
Mm.
she was like, why is there a bottle of hot sauce on your nightstand? And so it's just been this running gag that now has developed into a sketch, and
Neat. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, stuff just kind of, though where Breakup Ninja came from, I have no fucking idea.
I was just gonna ask. I'm like, okay, but I've gotta ask. Yeah. It's a great
I don't
idea. I love the
know.
concept and.
What's really weird is I find that a lot of times my stuff revolves around dating. And
Okay.
I have not done a lot of dating, to be honest. Like, I've always had
Really.
a boyfriend, and I've always had a
Mm.
long term boyfriend. So I
Mhm.
wonder if it's like this fascination of this, like, this
Mm.
cultural thing that I missed out on, I guess. Because
Gotcha.
my current boyfriend, we've been together 6 years, and my
Okay.
boyfriend before that, I was together 4 years. So it's like I've
Ah.
always had this very long. I've never done dates. I've never done a one night stand, but I shot a
Mhm.
video about it. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I guess I'm fascinated with this whole idea of life that I missed. I don't
Neat
know.
foreign world. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know where the idea came from, but it just developed, and we just got carried away, I
Mm.
guess.
Awesome. Now you like to game too, right?
Mhm.
It sounds
Yeah.
like. Do you have a favorite console, or do you prefer PC gaming?
I do
Kind of
have a
polarized.
favorite console, but
Uh,
right now,
mhm.
um, so my favorite console I would say is the PS4 right
Okay.
now. I was like actually really hardcore Xbox,
Okay.
and then I got the PS4, and I'm sorry, all you Xbox fans, but it was so much better.
Nice.
So I really like the PS4,
Mm.
but I just got the Switch, and man, I really, really like it. It's
Mm.
really cool. I love, though
Awesome.
the thing is like, it's not fair for me to say that the Switch is my favorite console because
Mm.
I've literally only played Zelda on it.
Ah,
It's like
nice.
I've been calling it my Zelda boy because that's like all I play on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm excited because in the ads they said they were gonna have Skyrim, and I
Right.
I would love to play Skyrim on that. I have a Surface Pro, and I have Skyrim on
Ah.
that, but it's
Mhm.
like not the best experience on the
Mm.
because the Surface is like kind of like a tablet.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, I have nothing against PC games. I'm not
Mm.
a huge PC gamer. Um, it's more that I've played like League of Legends,
Mhm.
but it's more that I'm a video editor by trade usually.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm like 8 hours a day in front of my computer screen. And so at the
Right.
end of the day, the last thing I want to do is still be in front of my computer
That
screen.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so it's like my friend Brett is like always trying to get me to, play Steam games. And I know that there's great games out there, like I don't deny it, but I
Mm,
just, I'd rather sit in my couch in a different
mm.
room for a while.
Yeah, change of scenery, comfort of
Yeah.
a couch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little stir crazy when you're in the same room, but the downside is like with the PS4 or most console games really is that they don't do multiplayer,
Oh,
and my boyfriend and I like to play together. So, for the longest time, it was pretty much just on the same console. I mean, I know you can do
gotcha.
multiplayer on multiple consoles, but
Mhm.
on the same console, like the only thing out there is like Borderlands, which is great, but you can
Ah,
only play Borderlands for so long.
yeah.
Yeah. um, so my boyfriend ended up buying me my own PS4 so we could play Star
Oh,
Wars
neat.
Battlefront together.
Oh, cool. Mhm.
But then it's like, I have to be in another room and
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Not the same.
So
Yeah.
I wish that multiplayer on the same console would come back. Like I miss
Mm,
that when, you'd go over to your friend's house and you guys would play like the 64 and,
yeah.
you all are watching each other and taking
Hmm.
turns, or you're like playing Perfect Dark or whatever, and I
Yeah.
miss that, or Halo, or I guess that was Xbox. Not
Oh, neat.
sorry, all
Oh,
the
bummer.
comments.
Yeah.
Hold on, don't worry, I corrected
That is
myself.
not the. Yeah.
You're not really a gamer. You're such a gamer girl. You don't
Ugh.
really know what you're talking about.
Ugh.
Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like
More
I can't.
comments. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, they can deal with it. Yeah, they. I hate that double standard.
Yeah.
Um. Let's see then. Oh, do you have any games then aside from Skyrim for Switch that you're really hankering for, that you're waiting for it to be released?
I mean, I would really like another Far Cry that wasn't
Mm.
that piece of shit that was Primal. Because I
Right.
hated that. Pretty much hated that. But Far Cry, like Far Cry 4 was just like one a perfect game in my opinion. I thought it was really great. And so I would really like that. I also do really like, even though it's cheesy and such a gamer girl thing to say,
Ugh.
but I really like Kingdom Hearts, and so I'm like,
Yeah,
come on, Kingdom Hearts 3, let's go.
please.
Someday before I'm like 35 and really ashamed of playing this game,
Right.
Someday in the next decade.
Nice. Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
amazing. That is a fantastic game. I remember
Mhm.
spending many an hour on the first one there, and the second one,
Yeah.
very good.
I tried to go back and replay it, and I was just shocked because I remembered the graphics being so good. And I was like,
Yeah,
holy shit, this game is 4:3. What?
yeah, right?
Yeah,
I don't
it's
remember it like this at
crazy.
all.
Yeah,
Um, do you have any future projects that you can discuss on the
I
horizon?
can. Well, I do have a really fun one
Mm.
that I don't want to give too much away about. It was
Mm,
that
okay.
the one I was, well, I can't really say anything else, except that we're
Okay.
shooting it soon. But like I said, we have more Let's Drinks coming
Okay,
out. So
neat.
we've got the video game cocktail one with Holland Farkas, which is going to be awesome. Holland used to work at Rocket Jump. We have the Star Wars episode, which is really fun. We
Uh,
drink like the blue milk, you know.
oh, nice.
And there's all sorts of, that one has like some really fun cocktails, and that we did that with Tom Gray from Player Piano,
Oh,
and
cool.
then yeah, we have a spicy beer episode coming out.
Oh.
um I'm trying to think. I have other things in the pipes, but I don't want to give them away because I don't want someone stealing my
People, yeah, your fans, everyone watching will just have to
ideas.
wait with bated
Hold
breath to
on.
see. Yeah.
More Let's Drinks though. Oh, and we have actually this is really cool.
Hmm.
We have a contest coming out, which will
Mm.
hopefully the video will be out in like a couple of weeks. always say
Okay.
that, and then it takes me longer, so
Hmm.
sorry. But but hopefully it'll be out by the time you see this video, maybe. But yeah, so we're doing a contest to celebrate that we have like all these subscribers and to celebrate that we released the Fallout video, but we're giving away a Pip-Boy version of Fallout 4.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so you
Nice.
can get the Pip Boy, and we're giving away other cool Fallout loot, and we got the little girl, Fallout girl
Okay.
that I actually had an artist commission that. I don't know if you, it's
Ooh.
when she does the critical hit and she's like putting her lipstick on
Hmm.
in the game. There's like a little critical Fallout boy that comes up and he like
Hmm.
shoots, he like blows his
Oh,
things and
yeah.
wakes. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I commissioned an artist to make the girl version, so it was Marissa. And so if
Oh, that's
you pay
awesome.
attention in the video, it's actually the girl version that we made.
Oh, I've got to go
Because we
back and
make
watch it.
everything, in the
Neat.
videos,
Hmm.
and we even like on the thumbnail, it even has like the Fallout 4 logo. Like we completely remade that.
Okay,
That's
nice.
not. It's not like we took that graphic from Bethesda. We remake
Hmm.
everything so that we don't get in trouble with copyright.
Yeah, right, right.
But so we're giving away little pins and a shirt with that, which is really fun.
Nice.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that.
Yes, yes. And go back and rewatch. So
Yes.
everyone
Keep
watching. Yep.
watching it over and share it. It like spiked in Japan recently.
Oh,
I
that's
was like,
pretty
"Oh my
cool.
god."
Hmm.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
I could see was the demographic. It was like Japan, 2,000 views, and I was like, "Wow, what's
Mm.
happening?"
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, oh, so we have a segment here where we ask some serious questions, but also some off the wall ones.
We, the
uh,
royal we, huh? No, I'm just
yeah, so
kidding.
which
We.
includes fan submitted questions. And in fact, you have so many fan submitted questions, I think we'll skip right to that. Uh,
Okay.
so Greg asks, is that your natural mustache color?
No, it's not. I had to dye it. Natural is brown. Had to dye it red.
Nice.
Just so he knows. Yeah.
Awesome. And
The
there you have
carpets
it,
don't
Greg.
match the drapes. That's all
Nice.
I'm saying.
Awesome. Uh,
Hi, Mom.
yeah. Awesome. Um, so next question comes from Murphy. Um, and they ask, as a woman making short films involved with and set in what is
Mhm.
still a male-dominated video game culture, how do you feel your voice has been received, and have you interacted with other women who are content creators?
I love this question. I'm so glad that Murphy asked this
That's a good one.
because the interesting thing is because I'm not in the video game videos or like most of our sketch stuff,
Hmm.
people don't realize that I'm connected normally,
Okay.
unless they meet me in person.
Hmm.
And so a lot of times the comments we get on the videos are people thinking that the video is made from the male perspective. So like
Oh.
we made like a for example, this isn't video game, but we made a breakup ninja video where
Hmm.
this girl's at this Halloween party and
Oh,
this
yeah.
like douchebag guy is hitting on her. And so she
Hmm.
calls the breakup ninja and the breakup ninja kills him. And one of the comments we got was something like, "Girls, right? They're so shitty." And I was like, "Wait, what?"
Where
No,
did you get
that
that
was
from?
not the moral of the story.
You missed the
No.
creep and all the what? Like.
Yeah, I was like, no. So I get comments like that, or like, I also run the social media um, for LaughStash. I'm the person doing all the posts and responding to people, and most people don't realize that either. And so I get a lot of like, sure, bro, or what's up, bro, or like
uh,
people just seem to
wow.
automatically assume I'm a guy, which is like
Jeez.
whatever. I don't,
Yeah.
whatever. It's not a big deal to me. But I think it's funny that I usually think that my perspective is female, but it
Mhm.
seems that males seem to relate to it as well. And I don't know if that's good or bad,
Yeah,
but sure,
right. Neat.
whatever. So yeah, that's kind of the interesting part. And then what was the second part of the question again? I forget.
Have you interacted with other women who are content creators?
Yes, yeah. So, actually, a lot,
Good,
especially
cool.
in the geek community. So,
Mm,
there's Holland who we've interacted with. We've had a lot of people on our podcast who are female creators.
neat.
There's the I really admire her. She's like her name is Lauren. She's like the main one of the main video director of photography people for Rocket Jump. She's really
Wow.
great.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I mean, I've like talked to her through Twitter and talked to her like once or twice in person. It's not like I know her or anything,
Mm,
but
neat though. Yeah, you still.
I admire to see her as a director of photography and a
Mm,
woman shooting video game stuff, and I
neat.
think she does a fantastic job.
Mm,
I haven't met her personally either, but another person is Ashley Birch, who I think does an awesome
ah,
job. Yeah, in
mm,
the industry. So I think I think there's more women out there than people think
mm,
doing the jobs. Where I think it's hard is when you're trying to fill the director or cinematographer role,
mm-hmm.
because those are, I do find that as a woman those are harder jobs for me to get, and I do that as a
Yeah.
profession too. I was telling
Mm-hmm.
you before we started rolling, I shot a
Mm.
documentary for the Olympics over the
Oh, right.
summer, and I've shot things for LinkedIn,
Wow,
um,
nice.
which is great. Yeah, and I find once I start having bigger things under my belt, I
Mm-hmm.
think people take me more seriously. But I think initially people didn't really take me seriously as
Oh.
a cinematographer director,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps because I was a woman. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
really sure. I
Well, you see it.
personally,
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
You see it often enough. Sadly, yeah. I can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
I feel pretty lucky in life, I guess, because
Mm-hmm.
I've never really felt personally held back by
Okay.
being a woman. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of think, if you like life, you get out of life what you put into it. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
if you go in there not with that expectation, you'll
Mm-hmm.
probably do better in
Mm-hmm.
life, and not, it's like, why, if you go in expecting to be held back as a woman, maybe people will pick up on that vibe, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
if you're just like, that doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
I have a valid opinion.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm a
um,
person. Yeah.
yeah, and my friends know me as a very opinionated person, so I
Neat.
don't let my opinion not be heard. I'll put it that way.
Neat. Good.
uh,
Awesome.
yeah, which can also hurt you as a woman, but to be
Well,
opinionated.
boo to everyone
Well,
else then. That's yeah.
suck it.
Yeah, exactly. um, let's see. Charlotte asks, what was the most fun project you worked on, and what project makes you most proud?
I like this question too.
Mm.
So there are actually two different projects. I think the
Oh, okay.
most fun. Oh wait. Oh, there's the Roomba. Hold on, let
Oh,
me stop it.
okay.
Can you can you hear all that noise upstairs? It's my
No.
dog running around. Okay, good.
Nope.
He's running around. It sounds so loud here. All right. Ask me the question again.
Okay. Charlotte asks, what was the most fun project you've worked on, and what project makes you most proud?
I love this question, and the answer there. It's actually two different answers. So the most fun project was definitely the Fallout one, because it was just so much fun to cover Marissa in blood. I,
Nice.
I love doing that, and also it was a lot of fun for me too, because it was my first time shooting outside and trying to light it professionally.
All
So
right.
there's not, unfortunately, because we had such a small crew. There's not a lot of photos of it, but we had silks up above them so
Okay.
that the sun wasn't,
Diffuse it. Yeah.
yeah, the sun was
Ah.
diffused. And then as the day went on and the shadows changed, we had to build
Oh.
makeshift things out of duvetine, which duvetine is like a blackout cloth that's
Oh,
completely
okay.
blocks out the sun. So we
Oh.
had to like block out the sun, and it
Uh,
literally by the end of the day looked like this giant tent that we had built around them in the
neat.
barn. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I only have one picture of it, and it's not even to the full extent because
Oh.
we ran out of duvetine, so we
Oh
started
no.
using the green screen because we brought a green screen
Oh,
out.
okay.
And then we started using, just my friend Murphy had like sheets that we just started putting up
Right.
everywhere
Uh.
because it was like we need to cover this.
Right.
And but it was so much fun because
Neat.
I had a small crew of people who were all like 100% like, let's make it work. I'd be like,
Nice.
okay, this is a problem. And they would, I even had a friend who's like, he's a professional chef. He's not even a filmmaker. And he was there helping out.
That's
And
great.
it's like, okay, we need to block this light. And so he'd hold like a flag up, to block
Awesome.
light the whole time and be like a C stand. And it was
Nice.
just, it was so
Let
much
it put this
fun.
way.
Yeah, because it was really cool working with a bunch of people who, they were, instead of seeing a problem and like melting down, everybody
Mm,
was like, okay, there's a problem. Let's figure it out together,
nice.
which was
Yeah.
really fun. And then the one I'm most proud of is probably the Plants vs. Zombie
Mm,
because I wrote it hoping it would be a viral video. And
mhm,
so the fact that it has become a viral video
mm.
was so cool. And it's also the lowest budget thing we have ever shot on the channel.
Nice.
I
Really.
shot that I shot that for like $200
Wow.
and it was
Nice.
literally just me and Daleks, me and the actor.
Yep.
And my friend, we shot in my friend Lolita's front yard, and
Mhm.
she dug a little hole because the sunflower actually came in a pot, so we had to
Okay.
hide the
Oh.
pot in the ground. But then it was just me and Dallas like shooting the video together, and he
Wow.
did all of his own makeup because he's
Nice.
like a phenomenal makeup artist.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so I'm very proud of that one because it was like a 1 day shoot,
Wow.
small crew, smallest crew ever, just me.
Two people. Yay.
Me and the actor. I think the most expensive thing was like buying his costume or
Okay.
whatever, and I bought him lunch, and I always give my actors like gas money and stuff because
Neat.
they're driving to help me out. But
Mhm.
but yeah, it was just that one I'm definitely proud of because it's kind of it also came at a point in my life where I was feeling a little discouraged for a little while
Sure.
and wasn't really um there was a while where it was kind of like too many cooks in the kitchen with ideas, and so
Okay.
Plants vs. Zombie was just me and just my idea and just my vision.
Mhm.
And it was like proof to me that if I stick to my vision and I'm not trying to cater, I'm not trying to please everyone,
Right.
and that's a really easy trope to fall into when
Mhm.
you're especially when you're working with friends, because you're
Sure.
like, well, you're my friend and I don't want you to be mad at me, so I guess I'll
Right.
listen to you and do it, this way. But as a director, it has to be one person's vision,
Mhm.
because when a piece is not one person's vision, I think it's very obvious.
Mhm.
And it doesn't feel focused, it doesn't feel coherent. And so
Mhm.
this was just my vision, which most of my stuff, when I pitch it, doesn't normally get laughs.
Mhm. Oh
People
no.
normally look at me and they're like, I don't get it. And my stuff doesn't really play well on paper because
Mhm.
I think I'm more of a visual comedian,
Mhm.
and I'm more of a situational comedy comedian. And so
Gotcha.
and that's exactly what Plants vs. Zombie is. It's like, imagine me sitting. I was like, so the zombie's coming, right? But the plant's there, and like, imagine pitching that video. It's like
Right.
not
You
funny,
have to be able to see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it also kind of, that video, I think, instilled um, faith in some of my friends too, where
Mm.
before, I would get a lot of questions on set, and now I get a lot of people saying like, well, I trust you, like I
Nice.
trust your opinion, and I encourage people to bring me ideas because filmmaking is a collaborative process, and hey, you might have a better idea than me. Like,
Mhm.
I did not come up with the idea for the Fallout parody. That was
Mhm.
Brett's idea that I then
Nice.
elaborated on, but
Mhm.
he came up with, so I love providing a community for feedback and for
Mhm.
people to like give me ideas, but at the end of the day, if I don't think it's the right direction, I have to stay focused on my own thing. So
Right.
that gave me a lot of confidence back, I think,
Good.
in directing. Yeah.
Neat. And here it is at 7 million views and
I
such. So
know.
yeah,
It's crazy.
nailed it. Yeah.
And I keep being like, I remember when it hit a million, and I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if it hit 5 million? And then it hit
Mm.
5 million, and I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if it hit 8 million? And now I'm sitting here like, oh my fucking god, it is going to hit
It's gonna do
8
it.
million. This is crazy. It's like, at
Amazing.
what? And I also like, I can't believe I've never met like a rando person who's
Mm.
seen it. But
Mhm.
again, I don't know, maybe I have, because they wouldn't recognize me as, if
Oh,
you
right.
only saw that video, you'd have no
Mhm.
idea that I made it.
Right.
So it's interesting. I'm always curious, like I haven't had that day where like I've met some random person like watching my video or
Hey, you
something, but
made. Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
That would be really cool though.
Nice. Have you ever thought of, now I'm not actually sure how it works on the back end, but at conventions, at cons and stuff, have you ever thought, or have you already ever gotten, bought out a space where people can interact with you for Laugh
We've
Dashers?
thought about it. There's one local to us that we've thought about doing. But again, I'm not sure. Um, I'm not sure we have like a big enough fan base yet to
Mm,
support that financial decision.
gotcha.
But we also do go to like I went to VidCon last year and I
Okay,
met a couple of fans, and
mm,
I went to Comic Con and I've
nice.
met people there too. So um, I do try to go to the conventions, but getting a table and space is so expensive
Is it?
at most of
Okay.
them. Yeah, but we did do. We went to NerdCon, which was a small convention down in, I think it was around San Diego,
Okay.
and we did a live performance there of Let's
Nice.
Drink, actually. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, they wouldn't let us do alcoholic drinks, so we did sodas. So we
Oh,
did like
okay.
weird, like bacon soda, or
Oh.
like buffalo wing soda,
Oh
like
my
really
gosh.
weird sodas. Yeah. Um, so yeah, we did do that, and that was really fun because we recorded it, and we haven't released that episode yet because we like go back and forth on whether or not we want it to be like a Patreon
Oh,
um,
right.
benefit. I think that's what we want to do with it. But we that was a cool thing because we were able to record it, and I think
Mhm.
they had like a spare booth there that we like quickly. Now that I remember, we like quickly set up a little booth and
Nice.
like gave out our business cards, and then later I realized I had given out my boyfriend's business card and it
Oh
had
no.
his personal cell phone number
Oh.
on it, and I was like, oh my god.
So you might be getting some
Uh,
calls. Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So those lucky people got direct contact.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, um, uh, I had a question on that, and I can't think what it is. So we'll just skip to the next fan question.
Oh no. Maybe it'll
Yeah,
come back to you.
I hope so. We'll circle back around.
This is why I
Uh,
write down everything. I forget it
right.
instantly. It's just out of my head.
Google Docs is my best friend. It's
Me
yeah.
too.
um, well, Carrie asks, what has been your most challenging project, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
That's a great question too. The most challenging project was the Breaking Bad music video, and I think that was because we, I think, bit off a bit more than we could chew,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it became this like really really big project, and I really love shooting music videos because that was kind of the original thing that I wanted to do back
Okay.
when I was in high school. I really wanted to be a music video director, and I would shoot my own music videos with
Oh,
friends, and they're super
nice.
cheesy, but you know,
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sure.
um, they involved a lot of clothes from Hot Topic. I'll just say that.
Awesome.
Um,
Sold.
back when
Yeah.
Hot Topic had bondage pants and real goth clothes.
Right.
Um, but
Nice.
what was I saying? Oh, it was
Mhm.
just like a bit. It was a bit. Um, it was a lot.
Mhm.
And we were trying to hit the deadline
Mhm.
of releasing when the box set of Breaking Bad was
Oh,
releasing.
right.
And so
Okay.
we had set this deadline for ourselves, and I believe the turnaround for that video was like 30 days. We like shot it and
Wow.
edited it within 30 days, and
Wow.
my boyfriend Bryce edited that one,
Mhm.
and he logged something like 100 hours of editing. And yeah, and I even edited like a little section at the
Mhm.
end, but he did the major editing for it.
Mm.
But we all have day jobs, and so he was coming home
Right.
every night and working on it, and it
Wow.
just became really stressful.
Mhm.
And after releasing it, we didn't shoot another video for a couple months because it was just like so stressful.
I
You
bet.
needed a break.
Ah. Mhm.
Yeah, and it just kind of I learned a lot of lessons. I learned a lot of lessons about managing people.
Okay.
Learned a lot of lessons about being clear, um, and managing expectations.
Mm.
Some of the crew members were really big Breaking Bad fans, and so
Mhm.
to them it was very important to be as close to the original as possible,
Okay.
as opposed to my philosophy was this is humor, and the
Right.
end goal shouldn't be replicating Breaking Bad. The end
Mhm.
goal should be it should be funny, otherwise it doesn't belong on the channel.
Right.
And so that caused creative differences and
Mhm.
conflicts,
Mhm.
and I don't think that I personally handled those conflicts well either.
Mhm.
And so it was a huge learning scenario for me where I
Okay.
learned, I really need to be in control as the director. I need
Mhm.
to, in control. You can't be wishy washy as a director. You can't be like, I don't know, what do you think? You have to
Mm.
have a clear vision, because
Mhm.
if you walk onto set and you're kind of being passive and submissive like that,
Mhm.
um, it leaves room for other people to think that their opinion is better than, or,
Mhm.
or that it just leaves room for people to think that you don't know what you're doing too.
Right.
Like
Sure.
if you're going on asking other people what they think should happen as opposed to
Mhm.
being the assertive person. And that's not necessarily at any fault of those people. It's the fault of mine for not being for not
Neat.
being assertive,
Mm.
and also setting expectations up front. So that's a
Right.
huge thing for me. I'm a freelance videographer,
Mhm.
and that's a lesson that I've learned through my professional career too, is
Ah.
setting expectations with me and my client up front right away, and having a contract, and having the
Right.
contract clearly state. And so I don't necessarily do contracts for Laugh Stash stuff, but it's
Mhm.
important that I'm the assertive person right
Mhm.
off the bat.
Yeah.
And if I invite you to give me your opinion, then it's welcome.
Right.
But otherwise, it's important that you're there to support my creative vision,
Mhm.
because we can't have multiple.
Right.
When there's multiple, it just doesn't. And I feel like the Cook Bitch video shows that there were multiple visions. I don't
Mhm.
think it's as funny as it could be.
Mhm.
I think
I
it's
see.
really, um, I think it's really well done,
Mhm.
and it is really close to the original, which is great. That's cool.
Mhm.
But I think there were opportunities for more humor that we, didn't really exercise. We could have
Gotcha.
it could have been funnier, basically.
Ah.
Yeah.
Neat.
And then it would have been, because at the end of the day is to be more shareable, more viral. If it's
Right.
funny, unless you're doing a fan film,
Right.
um, then that's different. Then it's
Hmm.
understandable.
Yeah.
But for comedy, it's like if you're not making people laugh, then why are they hanging around?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat. Um, well, and for any viewers that are new filmmakers or anything, you can send Ash directly your thanks for all the awesome inside little
Yeah.
tidbits on what to
Yeah.
look for and expect and work on.
I am
um,
happy to give advice because I have done everything wrong at least 5 times, I'm sure.
neat, neat. That's the best way to learn, I think.
Yeah,
Then you
totally.
know you're like, oh, no, I won't do that
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
um, oh, and the other thing I was going to ask, you mentioned Patreon. Do you
Mhm.
have a Patreon page that?
We do, yeah. We have a
Yes.
Patreon page,
Hmm.
and there are perks up there. I think some of them are. It. I will admit it needs some updating, so bear with me on that one. Um, but if you donate at certain levels, you'll get access to like I said, there's the live show that we'll
Oh.
release of Let's Drink.
Mm,
We'll have like an episode, a bonus episode of Let's Rewatch, which is the podcast.
mm,
Um,
nice.
and then I think there's also like bonuses, like you get to have a Google Hangout with me, and
Awesome.
ask me questions or whatever. So there's
Nice.
stuff like that too. And
Uh,
then there's like uh, if you're like insane and you're giving us like $100 a month, which I don't, no one is doing that, but if you
neat.
want to,
But you could be
you
the
can
first.
be on an
Yeah.
episode of Let's
Oh,
Rewatch. And I
nice.
think there's also a perk where you can like meet us for lunch in LA sometime if you want. So
People, go do
I
this.
know, I know. All
um,
I want is $100 a month. I
come
mean,
on.
come
Yeah,
on.
you get to be on an
I'll
episode.
take you I'll take you somewhere nice, like In and Out or whatever.
Awesome. I'll make sure that we put that below in the info
Oh,
section too,
thank
your
you.
all your
Yeah.
social media stuff and
Yeah, I
Patreon.
don't
Neat.
push it a lot because I feel like I need to go through and freshen it up. And
Hmm.
I think I might, it's monthly right now, and I think I
Hmm.
might change it per video because we just don't release
Ah,
super
okay.
often.
Hmm.
So I think that might be discouraging people too, is they're like, why give you money when you're not doing anything? But I promise I'm doing
She
stuff.
is, yeah.
I have a full-time job too, people.
Right, right.
The more you pay me, the more I can spend less time doing that job.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Um, let me see. I think we have. Oh, we've got another couple of questions. Neat. So James asks, which celebrity do you think rocks a cool mustache? Also, what's your favorite kind of stash on somebody? And lastly, your favorite video game.
Okay.
That would.
Wow, this is a lot to unpack. Yeah.
Yeah.
And lastly, a tangent.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think my favorite stashed celebrity
Mhm.
is Nick Offerman. Though I would
Awesome.
also say Tom Selleck, but they've both got the same stash, which is actually my favorite stash. And I'm
Nice.
gonna call it the dad stash because it's basically the stash my dad has. But
Awesome.
just like that normal, like 70s, just normal
Hmm.
dad stash. Yeah. That's my favorite for sure. I know a lot of people like the sort of Frenchy
Oh,
curled.
the,
And
yeah.
I like the idea of that one, but
Mhm.
whenever you meet someone in real life with that, it's
Mhm.
like, you're
Yeah.
sleazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you go that way? Yeah.
I'm sorry if you have that stash. It's just like a lot of people I've met with
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
particular stash style ended up
Yeah.
being,
Uh,
unless the exception is if you're working in like a really awesome like 1920s or 1930s bar and you're
right.
like the bartender, then I am totally okay with that. But if you're
Awesome.
like wearing normal clothes and you've got like the curly thing, it just doesn't, you have to
Yeah.
commit. You got
Hmm.
to do the whole outfit. Favorite video game. So this is also hard because in the past I would have said Borderlands because I
Okay.
love Borderlands. Um, I'm a and I love Borderlands too. I'm a big Anthony Birch fan, so I like
Ah.
his writing.
Mhm.
Um, but I think I'm gonna have to say, and it is also hard because the other caveat is I really like the new Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Mm.
Obviously because I haven't been able to stop playing it. That's actually a video I'm gonna do. I can tell you about that. I'm gonna do a video about me being addicted to playing Zelda. Um,
Awesome.
because
That'll
it's just
strike a
real
chord
life.
with a lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, but I have to say that my favorite video game is Skyrim because it is
Okay.
the only video game that I have gone back and played not once, not twice, but like 3 or 4 times.
Wow,
And
nice.
I can play Skyrim forever.
Hmm.
I want it on every device. That's why I want it on my Switch. I have it on my Surface. I have it on my PlayStation. I want it on everything.
Nice.
I just really and I was playing it on a I think an airplane. I was playing
Okay.
it and I didn't have a mouse and I just had the shitty trackpad and I'm
Uh,
still like this is all like I'm still like so
yeah.
into it and my boyfriend's like watching me like swipe to try to turn around and battle and it's
Who is
like
that?
so
Yeah.
yeah it's so horrible but I still love it so much.
Nice.
Um yeah, so Skyrim is definitely it.
Neat.
Yeah.
um, let's see. Ooh, another multi-part question. Sonia asks, "What inspired you to be a content creator? What's the journey? What has the journey been like, including the highs and lows?"
So, another great question. So what inspired me to be, uh, what was the term she used? Creative
Um, you inspired you to be a content creator.
content creator. Oh,
Mhm.
nice. Um, you know, very, vocabulary.
Well done, Sonia.
Uh, yes. Um, I I've always been so as I was saying earlier, I've always been a storyteller.
Mhm.
And when I was little, my dad tells me stories of when I was little, I would set my stuffed animals up in a little row and tell them a story.
Oh,
Or
that's
I
awesome.
would like, use my beanie babies to reenact stories. And I was just always coming up with stories. And I
Mhm.
really also I love to draw.
Okay.
And that's actually one thing I regret not continuing drawing because I was actually pretty good at it as a
Oh,
kid.
okay.
Um,
Nice.
and paint. I did a lot of painting,
Wow.
and so I just always have this uncontrollable, consuming black hole of a desire to create
Mhm.
like art in some form, whether it was
Nice.
drawing or storytelling or writing. When I was in middle school, I like spent an entire summer locked in my room writing a novel. Like that's
Awesome.
just
Yeah.
I've started like 16 novels and finished one. Um, and never did anything with them, but I just
Ah.
had this, uncontrollable urge to tell stories. And I think it was I think it was middle school. I ended up taking I had taken art class after art class after art class, and
Mm.
our art teachers kept quitting after a couple months,
Oh,
probably
come on.
because we were terrible little monsters. But
Oh.
so every time a new art teacher came in,
Mm.
they wanted to reteach us the basics and shading and all
Uh,
this. And I got so tired of it.
mhm.
So I dropped out of art and I went into drama because I had friends taking
Ah,
drama. And
nice.
I discovered like, drama. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is awesome.
Mhm.
Um, and I loved being a part of it and I loved acting, but I
Mhm.
hated seeing myself on
Oh, really?
screen. Yeah, I hate it. I don't
Oh.
actually like I've gotten over it. I'm not that I don't hate it that much anymore.
Mhm.
But I used to absolutely hate it.
Ah.
And I did like a school play and like I just didn't want to see pictures or I was just like, no, no.
Nice.
Um, but I love being in the moment. And
Mm.
so then when I came to high school, there was a video production class that I took because my boyfriend was taking. I was like,
Mm.
whatever.
Mhm.
And I actually fell in love with it. And I was like,
Nice.
it was like a click in my head. All of a sudden, it was like, here's this thing. I can write a scene and then I can shoot it. And then I can, when I shoot it, I can do the backdrop and the art design, and I can make graphics for it. And I think like one of the assignments we had to do was like stop motion, but like actual cell animation where we're like drawing it. And
Okay.
I loved it. And then I, learned editing for the first time in that class, where I'm like cutting up this cell drawing I did to make this character look like he's singing. And I was just like in love instantly. And that has always kind of driven me to make more and more videos. I got like a camera in high school, and I actually know Sonia, so she probably remembers me shooting silly videos in high school, and just running around with this little like mini DV camera. But it's hard, it's hard to describe for me. In fact, Chris Hardwick, I think, says it best, where he says he just always has this feeling in him that he has to be doing something, and something creative, and if he's not doing something creative, he's not achieving anything. And so whenever I go through periods of not making content of any form, I start to get really depressed, and I start to feel like I'm failing in life. I start to feel like I'm not getting anywhere. What am I doing? I'm wasting my time. And I'm such a workaholic that I have to constantly be making stuff. So to me, it's not like a choice that I made one day where I was like, I'm going to be a creative person. It's just I have to create, because if I don't, my soul dies in a burning, ash-ridden car fire of just, I don't know, I can't describe the feeling. It's just so awful,
Right.
So it's for me, it's like this crazy desire. And there was a period after, like I said, after the Cook Bitch video, where I didn't make any content for a little while. I didn't shoot videos, sketch videos, and it was like one of the most depressed times in my life, not making creative content. So I just kind of have to do that. So the lows are the times when I'm not creating the content, and but I also, the other challenges with it is that have been a big challenge for me is because I'm a workaholic, and because I have this like crazy drive to do so much, I can also go the other direction, and I can burn out really easily. Because I'm the type of person who, if you leave me in front of the computer editing a video, I'll edit all night long. Like, I don't care. Food, I'm good. No, just keep working. Right. So my boyfriend is the opposite. He's like, can we just like watch a movie?
Nice, good.
But I'm
it's
like,
good balance.
Halfway through the movie, I need to stop. I need to talk about something. Wouldn't this be funny if this was what so he has really helped me throughout my creative life with him to learn to have a balance. And at the beginning of this year, I had a really stressful beginning of the year, and I let myself off the hook, and I said, I'm not going to release a video for a couple of months, and I feel bad, for fans who didn't get the normal, like, at least monthly video. We're so bad at releasing. But, I realized, like, you have to stop and enjoy life too, and be in the moment. And so often I wasn't in the moment because I was so driven to be focusing on something in the future. I have to do something, so I need to plan it. And I'm always like trying to come up with new podcasts and new things to do. And then I have to kind of reel myself back. And the thing that's really, really helped me is I go, is that an effective use of my time? Would I rather be writing my novel, or would I rather be doing a podcast? Like, I need to, my time is valuable, and it has a limit. And so I've learned that, before I go off and start this new podcast, I need to finish something else,
Gotcha. Neat.
And then I also need to spend time with my boyfriend.
Right, right. The rest of life, yeah. There.
And have life and spend time with my dog and
Neat.
you know
Mm,
so those are the challenges that I face all the time.
neat. All right. Let's see. Oh, we've got a couple more. Okay. Lalita asks, why
Who
did you
would
get?
that be? Lolita?
Awesome.
I didn't ask all my friends.
Awesome.
Just
uh, well, you may have covered some of this already,
kidding.
but she asks, why did you get into filmmaking, and when did it
Mm.
become your interest?
So yeah, that was kind of what I said about high school when I took
Mm.
that first video production class, and it really clicked. And I think I mentioned this earlier. I can't remember if it was before we started recording, but I went to two high schools. So
Mhm.
my
Oh,
freshman sophomore year, I went to Napa High School, Napa
okay.
Valley High School. And then for my junior senior, I went to a school funded by Bill Gates called New
Oh,
Technology High School.
nice.
And that school allowed us to take college classes, college level classes.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was able in my junior year to take a college level film class.
Wow.
And so I started taking those, and that was where I really started to learn, actually how to edit and, actually how to compose a shot and like,
Neat.
hey, don't, there's these things called the thirds, and you should,
Right.
Um, and then it also, because it was funded by Bill Gates, our desks were computer stations. So
So
instead of like
cool.
a normal, yeah, instead of a normal school, we had computer stations, and a lot of the times, our assignments were make a video.
Okay.
You can make a video about this thing. So like,
Nice.
you can make a video about this historical event or
Oh.
about this, idea, this social idea that we're studying. And so a lot of times I did that. Like I made a video about iPods. It feels very Doctor Who now that I think about it. About iPods like brainwashing people,
Okay.
and
It does.
basically a new rising of Hitler.
Yeah.
New Hitler youth through
Mhm.
them brainwashing people through iPhones.
Ah, nice.
And it was all about. It was to show that I understood the history there of the past.
Mm.
But yeah, so that was when it really, I think, when I really started realizing that's what I want to do. I want to
I
be a
see.
director. And I went to film school, and they tell you, at least the film school I went to, which they won't tell you anymore because they closed.
Oh, okay. They shouldn't have
um,
told so many people this. Okay.
yeah, I guess not. Uh, but they'd always tell us like everyone comes in here thinking they want to be a director, and they usually don't actually want to, and I was like, nope, that's what I want to do. I'm
Right.
very very sure. um and so it actually, all this time I'd been making videos, and in high school I had made kind of funny videos, but all this time I'd been thinking I wanted to be a serious director, like
Mhm.
I want to do feature films and
Okay.
serious and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And it it wasn't till I did several failed attempts at other genres
Mhm.
that I started to realize that I liked comedy, and
Okay.
comedy was the thing that I I did best. I always, throughout my life, found that I always made people laugh. That was just something that I've always been talented at, just
Nice.
naturally.
Neat.
Yeah. I even thought about being like a stand-up comedian for a little bit
Oh, cool.
because I
Mhm.
like making people laugh.
Mhm.
I like, I think laughter is like the most important thing,
Mhm.
in life. I think I can't remember the Charlie Chaplin quote, but I think he has a very good quote about it
Mhm.
too, where it's an important part of life, and it's why people went to the cinema in the Great Depression, to
Sure.
escape. It provides this escapism that I think everyone needs. But yeah, so it wasn't until I made this really awful zombie movie, which, by the way, you can see the trailer for. It's called Reflection. I think it's on my personal YouTube channel, which I
Go
don't
check it
really
out, people.
recommend you go to because there's a lot of really bad stuff. It's a
Awesome.
dead channel. I don't post to it anymore because it's all the shit that I did in college. But
Okay.
I made this like,
Awesome.
yeah, it's all college stuff. In fact, I've been thinking about taking it down, so it might not be
Oh.
there anymore.
Uh,
um,
check
but
that
you
pic
can
that you got.
still see the trailer. We shot it on 16 millimeter film, and I
Oh
had
wow.
this like, I still think it's like a cool idea that I just didn't execute right. But I had this idea of a different take on being a zombie, where
Mhm.
instead of you get bitten and you're instantly a zombie, it was more like a Jekyll and Hyde thing, where you would
Oh,
go
okay.
through this transition period where you would black out and the zombie part would take over,
Huh.
and then you'd come back and you'd be like, what happened? So it's
Mhm.
about this guy who kills his wife when he becomes a zombie, and then he's trying to remember what happened to her because he wakes up in the zombie apocalypse. She's gone. He doesn't understand, and then he comes face to face with his zombie wife, and they're zombies then forever together in the end.
Oh.
But it was so high concept-y, art filmy the way that I did it
Gotcha.
that nobody got it. And it was, I think I had one friend, he was like, I get it, Ash. And I was like, thank you. But
Yeah.
everyone else was like, this sucks. and, and I
Oh.
was like, yeah, you're right. And that was when I started to realize that I should, I should do what I'm naturally talented at. And I think
Sure.
I was trying to do stuff that I wasn't naturally talented at. And I think that's probably a problem everybody has. It's like maybe you could love running and you want to be a long distance runner, but you realize you just don't have the endurance, So it
Right.
was like a learning process of figuring out. And then I think Hold Up, which was my thesis film in college, was my first short film comedy. And you can see in there that I'm starting to develop a little bit of comedy flair in there. I call it a comedy, and it's very much situational comedy. So it's not like somebody says a funny line and you laugh. It's just
Gotcha.
like, this is a funny scenario that these people have found themselves in. And then I think it wasn't until I started doing LaughStash stuff that it really then clicked even more, that I was like, no, I'm good at sketch comedy. Sketch
Neat.
comedy is what I'm good at. And so I've really embraced that, and I do everything I can to watch more sketch comedy. Like, I absolutely love watching Rocket Jump. I watch
Yes,
College
awesome.
Humor. Yeah, I think the College Humor stuff is on point. Portlandia. Yeah, I really like, my favorite type of sketch, or Key and Peele.
Yeah.
I like sketch comedy that's really done well. I'm not a huge fan of SNL because it always tends to be a little on the cheesy side,
Yeah.
And I like the sketch comedy where they're taking themselves like totally seriously. And I think
Right.
that's, again, the situational humor
Yeah, it sells it.
that
Yeah, a
I
lot
prefer.
more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, as opposed to the SNL, sometimes it's like, aren't we funny?
Yeah. Elbow
Not to bag
nudging.
on SNL. There's super
Oh yeah.
talented people on there.
Right.
And
Neat.
if you want to hire me, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. You can reach me at.
I take everything
Low.
back.
Awesome. Well, our last question comes from Murphy, who asks, what words of advice would you give to the aspiring filmmakers of today?
So, another question I love, because I've just gone through so many ups and downs, that I would say I would give two pieces of advice, I think. And the first piece of advice is, don't give up, because you'll never make anything if you give up. Like, you
Right.
can't make a thing if you stop. And don't give up because you have to make the shitty thing. Like, I had to make that shitty zombie movie to realize this isn't working and I'm not good at that.
Right.
And you have to make, like, isn't it? I think I heard someone say once, like, you have to make 100 shitty short films to make a good one. And it's because you have to learn from your mistakes. And I think the best way to look at it is, that can also hold you back because you can be afraid to do something because you're worried that it's going to be shitty. And that happened to me for a really long time after film school, because film school, I went to a unique film school. I went to a lot of weird schools. You just went to weird schools. But it was year round, and every 2 months we had a new class. So it was like intense class for 2 months, and you had to write, shoot, edit, produce a 10-minute short every 2 months. And you just had to start the process all over again. And then at the end of the class, everybody watches your video and tears it the fuck apart.
Lovely.
So, yeah, exactly. So it really really didn't make me feel insecure by the time that I left film school, because I felt like I wasn't good, and I felt this like tremendous pressure that anything I make, it's got to be this like Oscar-winning good. Because that was kind of what they made us feel in film school.
Right.
And I don't know if everyone's experience was like that, but mine was. But I think you have to let yourself off that hook and let yourself be okay with being creative and sort of exploring different possibilities, explore different genres, explore different ways to do things. And I think at the end of the day, don't be so worried with the end product. Just make sure that you're having fun while you're doing it. And I think if you're having fun while you're doing it, like you said, it shows through, and then you just learn, and you take every film that you do as an opportunity to learn from. Like, the reflection, I learned that I am not good at horror. And the cook bitch, I learned I was not being good at communicating with people. And so it's just take each thing as a new learning step. And I always take that approach with relationships too, where like, okay, well, this was practice for the next one. It's practice is what it is. And the only way you're going to get better at making films is by constantly doing them. And I feel like we've gotten to the point that our stuff looks so good just because we've been cranking them out for like, years now. Yeah. And then I said there was another thing. Oh, I think the second thing is, be true to your vision and who you are, and don't be afraid to be you. I think Felicia Day says you're never weird on the internet, So just go ahead, because it's interesting that if you play to your niche, it actually can help you more, because like the Plants vs. Zombie thing is such a niche, but it's a niche with a bunch of people who love it. Yeah. And when you try to, because time after time, another example where for this is for names, can't remember. Breakup Ninja.
Okay.
Can't remember my own content. I'm tired. For Breakup Ninja, there's an episode where we specifically were like, we want to get more clicks, and that's all we care about. So we shot an episode at the beach, and we put our actress in a bikini because we were like, chicks in bikinis get clicks. Well, you know what? Not really. I mean, we put the thumbnail of her in the bikini as the thumbnail for a really long time. I changed it since then because I felt like I was degrading my fellow women.
Gotcha.
But we had that thumbnail, and we were purposely trying to get clicks. And what we found was that the type of people we were attracting were not really the people we wanted. Gotcha. And they didn't really watch the whole video. They'd watch like, the first 20 seconds, then they'd leave because they're like, well, I saw her in the bikini. I'm done. I don't need to see any more. And so what we found was we were trying to hit this like broader audience, and we were making our goal the clicks, and we weren't
Mm,
making our goal let's make something we want to see. And
gotcha.
I think that's something that Simon Pegg says too, or
Hmm.
I'm blanking on his name. He's like one of my favorite directors. He directed Shaun of the Dead. Edgar Wright. He
Oh, right.
says,
Okay.
yeah, they were both commenting on Shaun of the Dead, and they said they made this film because it was a film that they wanted to see, and they didn't make it hoping that other people would like it. They just wanted to make what they wanted to make. And so I think that's really the hard lesson that I learned with that Breakup Ninja video. You'll see that it does have like 20,000 views, but we paid for a lot of those views because we like
uh,
pushed the video,
mhm.
and we found that it really wasn't successful. And that made me step back and go like, no, I need to make something that I want to make. And that's when I made
Sure.
um, the Plants vs. Zombie, not too
Oh,
long
okay.
after
That's
that.
neat.
Yeah, where I made, it paid off so much more making the video that I wanted to see, that I thought was good, as
Nice.
opposed to trying to pander to, um, well, sex sells and
Hmm.
all this stuff. You
Sure.
know, just play to the thing that you like, and
Hmm.
people will probably like it. I mean, like Felicia Day did the same thing with The Guild.
Right.
She wasn't trying to make a show that everyone could watch. She was trying to make a show that gamers would like,
Hmm.
and they passionately loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fantastic. I think, and I've got to thank you too for all the additional advice you've given for new filmmakers. I think
Yeah,
take it to heart, new filmmakers.
yeah.
It's great advice.
Don't make my mistakes. Don't put a chick in a bikini.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Natalie. So sorry.
Awesome. Um, actually, that looks like everything. That's all the time we have today on Mortal to Mortal. But Ash, thank you again so very much for being here today.
No problem. Thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
Oh, my pleasure. Do you have any thoughts or sentiments or anything you'd like to leave our viewers with?
um, no, just stay awesome. Yeah.
Cool. There
And
you have it.
always remember, if you're not gonna put boobs in your video, Christopher Walken works too. Just put Christopher
Awesome.
Walken in there. Same effect.
That's fantastic. More cowbell.
Yeah.
It works. Neat. Well, thank you so much again, Ash, and thank you everyone for watching, and hope you all have a pleasant evening. Bye.
All right, thanks. Bye.